Welcome back to the Post Route. I'm Erin, and we're going to dive into week 7 of college football. Our first game on the docket is going to be Michigan taking on USC. USC's quarterback, Jada Mayava, is a very mobile quarterback. He's also a quarterback that does very well against the blitz. Michigan is a very blitz-heavy defense, so this should be a pretty good matchup between both these teams. Statistically speaking, USC's offense looks elite at this point, but they've not faced a defense quite like Michigan's. Last year in this same game, Michigan's pass offense was abysmal. They had 32 yards the entire game. But somehow they squeaked out the win, and by somehow I mean they won the game on the line of scrimmage. Michigan is, and probably will continue to be for the foreseeable future, a very physical team. And last year, USC just could not match their physicality. That's literally what it came down to. USC is going to put up points. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't know if Michigan's passing offense is going to be able to match them shot for shot. It seems for Michigan in these first couple of games of the year, one or the other works really well for them. Either they have a really, really fantastic passing game and the run game suffers a little bit, or vice versa. The run game is out of this world and the pass game suffers a little bit. Now, one of these weeks for the Wolverines, that's going to click. And both of those things are going to run simultaneously, and then they're going to have an offense that should be feared in college football. I don't know if it's this week. It could be this week. For their sake, I hope it's this week. Michigan's run game with Justice Haynes will be their key to winning this game. I think if they can get some explosive plays on offense from him, as well as exploit this USC secondary and get some passes off, I think this is a Michigan game. I think it's tight. I think USC does put up a fight, but I think this is a no-brainer that Michigan walks out of there with the win. Next up, let's talk about one of the biggest rivalries in college football. I've heard it said one of two ways, so whichever way you say it is fine with us, but it's referred to as the Red River Rivalry or the Red River Shootout. Whichever one is fine with us. This matchup takes place between the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners. Right now, Oklahoma is 5-0 coming into this game, but Texas is the 1.5 point favorite. Texas has had some offensive struggles in the last few weeks. They have not appeared at all as a cohesive offense. And if you watched our breakdown from last week's video of Texas and the Florida Gators, you'll know what our thoughts are on this. But to give you a brief recap, this is not specifically an Arch Manning problem. And even Sark said it last week in his post-game press conference that Arch Manning is only doing what is being called. Could he do some of it a little bit better? Probably. Is a big part of why he can't do it better the offensive line? Yeah. On average, in the last 5 games, Arch Manning is being pressured 42% of the time on his dropbacks. In the Florida game last week, he was pressured 60% of the time. When your passing game is struggling like that, you would think the next logical move would be to go to your run game. Unfortunately, the tailbacks for Texas were not any better. In the Florida game, the tailbacks for Texas had 9 carries for just 11 yards. So as I previously stated, this is not specifically an Arch Manning problem. This is the offensive line, this is the play calling, and this is the run game for Texas. And 7 days to fix that is nothing short of a miracle. The million-dollar question coming out for Oklahoma is, will John Matier play? And if he does play, is he 100%? For those of you who don't know, John Matier, the quarterback for Oklahoma, had to have surgery on his hand. Now, I know that he is trying to come back this week. From what I read, I think he actually might be trying to come back a little earlier than he was originally supposed to. Either way, he's trying to come back this week. If he does come back and he's 100%, this is a no-brainer Oklahoma game for me. If he does come back and he's not 100%, I waver a smidgen. And I waver a smidgen specifically because Texas reminds me right now of a wounded animal with their back to the corner. There is no way out but through. This is a 100% must-win game for this program. That being said, they are going to be tested like they have never been tested before because this Oklahoma defense is out of this frickin' world. We talked about Arch Manning getting pressured 42% of the time. That's not going to slow down this week because the Oklahoma defense leads college football in pressures. They lead college football in third down defense. They lead college football with sacks per game. This defense is no joke. So if in the last 7 days from last Saturday, Sark cannot fix the problems with this offensive line, Arch Manning is in for a world of hurt. I know Texas is favored in this game, but there is no way in my mind that they beat this Oklahoma team. This Oklahoma team is just too well-rounded. This defense is to freaking die for. There's just no way with the struggles that they're having that I think Texas can pull this off. So we're taking Oklahoma. We're taking them a straight up win here. I don't need no freaking points on it. Nothing like that. This is a money line Oklahoma. The Ohio State and Illinois game. Illinois had a setback 2 weeks ago. They were absolutely body bagged by Indiana. It was probably a tough blow to that program who thought they were making strides in the right direction. They then went out to Southern California, picked up a win against USC, starting to feel a little bit better about themselves. Ohio State, on the other hand, has not had an opponent that they haven't beaten by double digits. Illinois has proven that they are capable of sustaining long drives. Clock management tends to be a relatively good skill of theirs and something that they can capitalize on in some of these tougher games. But they have not faced a defense like Ohio State's. Ohio State's defense is a totally different animal. It actually leaves me mind blown sometimes at how fast they are flying around this field. And now, Ohio State has always been known for having relatively good defenses, solid defenses. But this is unlike anything I've seen in the last couple of years. This defense is tight. Julian Sayin also seems to be expanding his passing game. I would say that probably comes with a mix of things. Him learning the offense as a redshirt freshman, him gelling with the team coming in as their new leader of this offense, as well as confidence from Ryan Day in his ability to execute with the play calling. So they're giving him a little bit more field to work with than they were in even weeks 1 and 2. The toughest defense that Illinois has faced so far has been Indiana. And in that game, Luke Altmaier did throw for roughly about 150 yards. But they were really able to shut down his scrambling and his mobility. And I think that if Indiana was capable of doing that, I don't see why Ohio State would not be capable of doing that. If Luke Altmaier is able to move, extend plays, and extend drives, Illinois does have a firepower to keep up with this Ohio State offense for a while. I don't think it's all 4 quarters, but it's a while. So if Ohio State can really get to Luke Altmaier and neutralize that threat, this is leaps and bounds going the way of Ohio State. Currently, the spread is 14.5 points. I think that's a lot considering what this Illinois offense is capable of. So I am taking Ohio State to win, but I think Illinois covers this 14.5 point spread. I don't think this is a double-digit win for Ohio State. I could be wrong. Their defense is is pretty tough. I just think that Illinois' game plan is going to be to push it and push it hard for as long as they possibly can and hope to God that that's enough. Let's move on to a much anticipated rematch between Mizzou and Alabama. Last year, Alabama won this matchup 34-0. They just absolutely dog walked the Missouri Tigers. This year, however, Mizzou's put the time in. They put a lot of work in this offseason. They put a lot of work in the portal. And they are not the same team that Alabama met last year. Now, Alabama is trending up. 2 big wins in the last 2 weeks, getting revenge over Vanderbilt, snapping Kirby Smart's home winning streak, and they're feeling pretty good. Mizzou, on the other hand, has had some great wins this season, but they're also coming off of a bye week. So they've had some time to rest. They've had some time to really put in a lot of effort before this matchup with Alabama. Missouri's run game is a big piece of their offense. It shines, to be completely honest with you. It looks great. But also their passing game, not that bad. Bo Prabula used to be the backup at Penn State. I feel like they maybe kept the wrong guy, but that's neither here nor there. Bo Prabula is a very mobile quarterback. He is somebody that can get out of the pocket. He runs, he moves, and he throws a pretty ball downfield. Now, that being said, I'm not 100% sure that their receivers are going to be able to get a ton of separation from this Alabama secondary, but we shall see. Missouri's run game is going to be led by Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. They are the 2 backs for them that put through the most work. They are going to be the backbone of this offense, I think, in this game against Alabama. Mizzou is number 1 in rushing yards per game. They are also the number 1 rushing defense. And they are also number 1 in converting on that third down as an offense. They have a lot going for them right now. However, Missouri has not faced a passing offense like this Alabama passing offense. And because this Missouri defense is so good at containing the rush, they will force Alabama to remain one-dimensional with their pass game. And Alabama is going to rely heavily on Ty Simpson and their receivers to make connections downfield to move the ball. Ty Simpson's mobility and his ability to extend drives is what will keep Alabama productive in this particular type of offensive style. He has great control of the clock. He has great clock management as well. The longer Ty Simpson stays on the field, the less chance Missouri is going to have to win this game. He chews up playtime, and it is one of his incredible strengths as a quarterback. If this does come down to a passing game and Alabama is forced to consistently throw the ball, they will win out over this Missouri secondary. There's no doubt in my mind. I think Missouri keeps this close. I think this game is going to really come down to which quarterback is going to be able to find receivers, and the run game is going to be almost non-existent other than a back or 2 from each side. I don't think they're going to be spreading the ball around a ton on ground games. I think this is going to be a shootout. I do think Alabama comes out on top. I know the Missouri folks want some revenge from last year. I think they're capable of it if they do all of the things right that they need to be doing, but I cannot bet against this Alabama team right now with the trajectory that they're on. So we are taking Alabama to win this sucker outright. I think the spread is 3.5 points. I think it's going to be close to that, but I'm not sure that they're going to be able to cover. Last but certainly not least, we jump back into the Big Ten for a matchup between Indiana and Oregon. As we previously said, 2 weeks ago, Indiana completely body-bagged Illinois in what everybody thought was going to be a close game. Also 2 weeks ago, Oregon traveled to Penn State and went into overtime with the Nittany Lions, eventually coming out with the win. This Indiana offense will be capable of trading punches with Oregon in a way that other teams have not been able to this year. This Indiana offense is led by Fernando Mendoza, and he is currently right now at the top of the list for potential Heisman winners. Oregon's defense's number one priority will be to shut down his movements. He is an extremely mobile quarterback. He moves very well outside of the pocket, and he is a run threat. But if Oregon can maintain him, this changes the entire bowl game. Indiana's offensive line does a really great job at protecting Mendoza as well as their backs. Mendoza is capable of taking his time to go through progressions. His backs are able to find lanes, find holes, because this offensive line has really done a great job of protecting their most valuable asset. The real star of this Indiana team, though, is their defense. They are a pass rush heavy type of defense, so they're going to put some pressure on Dante Moore. But Dante Moore is also a front runner for the Heisman, so let's not count him out either. Oregon's offense is actually highly efficient, but highly flexible. They don't typically just rely on one type of offensive style or the other. Their offensive coordinator does a really great job of mixing the two together so that defenses aren't 100% sure which way they're going. They are capable of doing quick pivots from pass game to rush game very effectively, and they have a lot of weapons surrounding Dante Moore to make that happen. Currently, the spread is 7.5 points in favor of Oregon. I do think Oregon wins this game, but if I'm being completely honest with you, it would be doing a complete disservice to the Indiana Hoosiers to say that they won't cover that spread. They absolutely will. Even with the travel out west and being in Eugene, Indiana Hoosiers cover a 7.5 point spread. This is a one-score game at minimum. I would argue to say that it's probably going to be a 3-point game. Thank you so much for tuning in with us this week on week 7 of college football. We are very excited to also bring you a quick recap of the NFL tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. I'm Erin. That's the route. Catch you next time.